What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So I feel like most people clicking on this video might be thinking this video is going to be some sort of compound interest video, and that's not exactly what it's going to be. I feel like I've made so many videos on compound interest. It's definitely not worth me making another one of those videos yet. So if you haven't clicked off of this video yet because you assumed it was another boring compound interest video, invest X amount into Y for Z many years and you'll be able to see this much money accumulate over time. This video is going to be about the compound effect. Now, does this apply to compound interest? Yes, it does, but it also applies to a lot of different areas of your life that I don't think people necessarily take into consideration. And the thing is about the compound effect is it can apply to a lot of different areas in your life, both good and bad. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I hope you guys get some value out of it. If you do, make sure to drop a like on the video. We're going to go into detail about what some of those good and bad things are and what I mean by that. And if you do enjoy it and you enjoy content like this pertaining to personal finance, lifestyle, self-development, etc., make sure to subscribe. So what is the compound effect exactly? So basically what the compound effect is small choices plus consistency equals insane results. And what a lot of people think of when they think of insane success, and I mean like really insane success beyond the 9-to-5 job, I think people think that you need to be doing many thousands of things well, and I don't think that's very practical, and I don't think that is exactly, no pun intended, a recipe for success here. I think what success really is, especially after reading the book The Compound Effect, and this is what's talked about in the book, is success is really doing half a dozen things thousands and thousands of times until you get really good at them. Not what I said earlier, which was doing thousands and thousands of things really good. And yes, this can be applied to compound interest, obviously, because if you take X amount of money and invest it into Y for Z amount of years, you're going to see a compound effect, and you're going to see your money grow larger and larger over time, as long as you stay consistent, that is. Now, does this apply to compound interest? Yes, it absolutely does apply to compound interest, because you can see yourself invest X into Y for Z amount of years, like I mentioned earlier in the video, and as long as you stay consistent with this strategy and you continue to do this over the course of many years, you're going to see that little Easter egg hatch into something huge and beyond anything that you could have imagined. Again, as long as you stay consistent with it. But the thing is, and what I don't think a lot of people understand, is you can take that same philosophy of the compound effect that you apply to your IRAs, 401ks, Roth IRAs, etc., and you can apply that both positively and negatively to your habits, and you can continue doing that over a period of so many years, and you're gonna be shocked as to what happens due to this compound effect of working on those habits and skills, or whatever the case may be, for so many years. So we'll start off with some positive examples here. We'll start off with, say you want to start a YouTube channel and you don't want to necessarily be a full-time YouTuber with 35 million subscribers. You simply just want to start a YouTube channel because you enjoy public speaking, you enjoy talking to people, you need something to work on the side because you feel like you need to be busy, and you've always had a passion for filmmaking, let's say. So you start this YouTube channel. Your first video is most likely going to suck. There's zero way to get around that. Your first video, unless you're someone like Matt Diavella or you have much experience in filmmaking and editing, it's most likely not going to be very good, because you got to figure it out. But if you stick with it and you continue to make videos and you continue to edit and you continue to learn, you continue to research, how do I make a good video? How do I start a video? What's a good intro? What's a good outro? What do I need in the middle? Do I need transition scenes? How can I color grade? You start to learn all of these things, and you go down this rabbit hole, and you make each video about 1% better. That is an exponential amount of growth. Say you make one video a week for 1 year. You make one video a week for 1 year, and you get 1% better every single video. That means your last video of the year was 52% better than your first video of the year, which is a very, very, very positive outlook and a very, very, very positive ROI percentage. Another example is, say you start a clothing line. So you own your own clothing line, and the first sample you get from your manufacturer, most likely it's not going to be right. Everyone I know that has been involved in clothing and everyone I've seen talk about their clothing lines, almost every single first sample they get, it's wrong. There's something that needs to be tweaked. It almost never comes out 100% on the first try. And then once they get that sample to be what they want it to be and they put in that bulk order, they start working on another batch of clothes and another batch of clothes and another batch of clothes, and each line of clothes is going to get a little bit better as time goes on. If you run a clothing line for 10 years, your first line should be absolute crap compared to the line you put out in your 10th year of making clothing. It just should. It's basically a fact. During this time, you're going to work with different manufacturers. You're going to look at probably different styles. You're going to have different ideas. You're just going to understand the process better. You're going to be able to get your systems in place to get all of that clothing material to a place that you want it to be. And it's going to lead to a better quality product as long as you stick with it, because all of that knowledge that you took with from your first launch to your second launch to your third launch, all of that knowledge, all of the mistakes you made are all going to compound, and you're all going to be able to put that out into your next launch as something that was better than everything that was launched previously. And even if you're not running a business or a side hustle, it's the same thing that applies to your job. How many of you have started a new job and you have absolutely no idea what is going on? Like literally zero. Someone could say jump and you could say how high, but you don't know how to jump. It happens to just about everyone, I would say. It's very few and far between people start a job, even if they're familiar with the software that the company is using, and they are 100% sure of what they are supposed to do and what their outlook and criteria looks like. But as you move on from your first day to your second day, and your second week to your third week, and your third week to your 8th month, you're gonna build up knowledge over time, and all that knowledge is going to compound into eventually you've been at that job so long that you know exactly what you're doing, and you're not necessarily on autopilot, but you know the ins and outs of your system, and you know what you're supposed to be doing to accomplish the tasks at hand that you're supposed to have done at the end of each day, week, month, etc., etc. Now, at the same time, this can also be applied, this compound effect can also be applied in a lot of negative ways. Say you want to start investing. You decide, I want to take control of my financial future. I want to save for retirement. You start investing, and a couple of months go by, and you have a few $1,000s saved and invested, and you're not a millionaire. So you decide that the stock market's a scam, or maybe you got in the market at a bad time, whatever the case may be, and you decide to stop. Or maybe you decided to take a peek at your credit card statement and you realized you were spending too much money going out, you were spending too much money doing this and that, etc., etc., and you decide to cut back. And you cut back for a couple of months, and then you realize that you're not enjoying life as much, and you realize that budgeting is a scam, and you're here for only so many years, and that maybe you should just spend money freely, and you ultimately stop cutting back and you relapse, for lack of a better term. Or maybe you decide you want to train for a marathon, and it's something that's on your bucket list. You would like to run a marathon before the day you die, and since you're in your early 20s, you decide what better time is now. And you don't give your body acclimate time to adjust to the mileage that you need to be used to running a marathon. So you start running for 2 or 3 days. You start training for that marathon for 2 or 3 days. And then you ultimately decide that you're too burnt out, you're too tired, you're too sore, and that maybe a marathon is just not for you. And then what people don't realize is years and years of not investing, years and years of spending money freely and setting yourself back, and maybe even putting yourself in more debt, or years or not running, or not just running, not exercising in general, sets yourself further and further back every single year, and really takes more and more time away from the goals that you want to achieve. You can also make this argument in the aspect of other ways pertaining to health, such as cigarettes. Say you smoke one cigarette. Is that really going to end your life? No, it's actually going to do next to nothing to you. But how many people do you know smoke one cigarette in their life and stop? I don't know too many. So if you smoke one cigarette, it's not really going to do anything. But if you smoke one cigarette a day for 10 years, that's going to do something, and that's going to compound over time. Now, what if you smoke 2 cigarettes a day for 10 years? What if you smoke a pack of cigarettes a day for 10 years? All of that smoke in your lungs, all that tobacco, all that nicotine, it's just going to compound and ultimately make you extremely unhealthy and take years off of your life. Basically, what the compound effect should do, and the way you should think about when using the compound effect, is to take little steps towards either stopping something that's really bad or starting something that's going to really, really help you, whether that's monetarily or just forming a good habit such as exercise or maybe reading or whatever the case may be. Forming a good habit where you do so over so many years, so many days, so many decades, whatever the case may be, you're ultimately going to feel really good that you started doing that when you did, because you gained so much knowledge, you gained so much health, whatever the case may be, you gained so much of X that it has just benefited your life in an astronomical way. And unfortunately, a lot of people don't take advantage of this compound effect, and there's good reasons behind that, because we're not built as humans, especially in this day and age, to necessarily do that. Society has put us in a way where we want things now because everything is very convenient. For example, Amazon, DoorDash, we don't have to lift a finger for any of these things. If we want groceries, we can order them from Amazon and have them delivered to our door. If we want to go Christmas shopping, we don't even have to go to the mall anymore. If we want to get food, get takeout, DoorDash will bring it right to our door. Life is very, very easy and convenient now, and we can get everything almost immediately. Don't be surprised if Amazon comes out with a couple of hours of shipping, like 2-hour shipping over the next 5 years. I really don't think that's out of the realm of possibility at all, after all I've read about the company and how they plan on ramping that up even more. But that's completely besides the point. Another thing that was mentioned in this study is a lot of people sacrifice long-term gain and long-term happiness for short-term happiness. For example, say you're dieting and you're really trying to eat right, you're tracking your macros, but there's someone in your house that just keeps ice cream around and your weakness is vanilla ice cream. Well, what's going to happen in this sense if you get a whiff or you see that vanilla ice cream and that is your weakness? Maybe you're going to want to consume the entire pint of vanilla ice cream. And say you go do that, you go devour the entire pint of vanilla ice cream, and you're going to feel, most likely, especially if you're deep into your diet, you're going to feel very guilty about this, that you cracked and cheated. And that's because you gave up that long-term satisfaction of losing the weight that you wanted to lose for the short-term satisfaction of eating that ice cream. And it's like that with everything in general. People don't necessarily want to work on a side hustle or business when they get home from work a lot of the time, because they're tired from work. So therefore, they sacrifice the long-term gain of working on their side hustle or business for the short-term gain of just watching Netflix or whatever the case may be. And lastly, as humans, especially in this day and age, and social media is really a big cause of this, is we crave that dopamine hit. So if you're taking little steps, again, we'll use the business or side hustle example here. If you're taking little steps to make progress on your business or side hustle, you're not always going to get that big dopamine hit. If you're a content creator and not every video you put out is getting 5 million plus views, then sometimes it's going to be very hard to get that dopamine trigger. But at the same time, all of us can get a dopamine trigger when we just go and scroll through Instagram for 20 minutes. So a lot of people might sacrifice their time, their very finite amount of time, to go and scroll through Instagram or Twitter or TikTok, because if everything on TikTok is true, just to get that dopamine hit that we so much crave. So really quickly, how can we implement the compound effect? How can we get the most out of this effect so that we can see the most success or reach our goals and really go on the pathway that we want to go on? How can we do this? Because this is very important, and I think a lot of people struggle with this. And the big tip that I will give to anyone who really wants to make a change, whether that is from a business perspective or maybe it's from a health perspective or whatever the case may be, you can really apply this to anything. The one big tip I would give is to control your environment. Now, what do I mean by this? So, for example, say you want to stop drinking alcohol. You've decided that maybe I don't know, drinking runs in your family and you decide maybe it's not the best idea that I continue to drink because it could lead to problems down the road, maybe what you should do is just remove all alcohol from your house, because you're going to be a lot more tempted to drink alcohol if there's beer sitting in the fridge or if you have a bottle of something sitting in your freezer. It's the same thing when it applies to health. If you decide I really want to lose 20 pounds, I really want to get in good shape, it might not be the best thing to have ice cream and cookies and all these type of foods with high saturated fats lying around your house. And what this is going to do, it's just going to allow you to become more disciplined. So when you put yourself in different situations, you can remain disciplined. There's this great quote from Atomic Habits, and it's an absolutely fantastic quote, and I think it really puts a lot into perspective. And basically what the quote says is that people who are disciplined, they're just very good at controlling their environment so that they can get away from bad habits. I don't necessarily view discipline as, okay, if you don't want anything to drink, don't drink it, I'm gonna drink. I don't think that's the best thing that you can do. If you really want to stop drinking or you really want to stop eating like crap, what you have to do is control your environment. And I think by doing this for whatever you're trying to stop or whatever you're trying to start, you can still do this for a lot of things you want to start as well. It doesn't always have to be bad habits. You're ultimately going to find that you're going to find a lot of success at the end of the day. So in saying that, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know what you thought of this video down in the comments. I really hope you guys all take advantage of the compound effect, because I think it's something that every single person can benefit from, regardless of what your goal is. So again, let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you guys in next week's video.